showtime. We're going live. Saturday night, we're live from New York. Hold on. I'm going live on all the places. Tobias. LinkedIn.
Ooh, this light is too
X.
bright. There, better.
There we go.
I have contractors at my house. I may have to step out to let them in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are here. Hello, Jules, our dear friend. Oh, Jackie's right here. It's I was going to say dynamic duo, but there's 4 of us. So, questing quadruplets? Is that a thing? Jackie?
Could be.
Maybe?
It could be. We could make it a thing.
Okay. The dog is behind me tearing. Hey, bro, come on, Yoni. You literally have toys here. Hi, Jake. What are we giggling at?
Is Jake on? Hi, Jake.
I'm just answering texts from clients, so I apologize. Today has been rank luster. I don't even know if that's a word, but hello, everyone from the team Tobias. I hope everyone's had a great month so far. I swear I'm going to stop looking at my phone. There we go. I'm done. Okay. Good. He actually hid his bully stick correctly and then actually found it again. That is literally the first time he's ever been able to hide it and find it, later.
Progress. We're making progress.
He's growing up. Okay, so we're going to wait a few minutes for more people to show up. Not that everyone here isn't the most important person, because a life is a world. That's what we learn growing up. A life is a world. How are you, Kelly? How was your day?
It's good. A little jet lagged, but it's good.
Oh yeah, how was your it was a vacay in Vegas? Did I make up Vegas?
Nope. Yeah. No, it was fun. My husband had a race. He did fine. And I was team support, cheering him on and having fun playing blackjack.
Oh yeah, you won me some money, didn't you? Yeah.
I won some money.
Is it like a car race or a
half
marathon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I always think I'm the kind of cool person who could do a marathon, but then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like walking. So why am I gonna like running for miles and miles and having everyone see that, I'm a schlub who can't move? My head's checked off. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
I am good. I just had a long day today and I'm running a few minutes late, but I made it. So I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me okay? Do I need to go get my earbuds? No?
I can hear you fine.
All right.
But before we officially start, I made this crack earlier, so I want to see how everyone feels.
Uh-oh.
Are we okay doing the podcast, this thing like this tonight?
What?
No.
I told you no one would want to see this the entire time. Nobody wants that.
Apparently not. Apparently not. All right. So we have some questions, and I might have some answers. Ooh, this is a good one. What are good questions to ask during a first phone call with a literary agent? And this is great because I was just on a call maybe a couple weeks ago, then a couple weeks before that, and I don't know. But you always say, do you have any questions for me? And some people come really prepared, and other people are like, no. But I'm going to defer to Kelly because Kelly is very thoughtful about everything.
Oh,
It's
Kelly.
absolutely. I'm not even being facetious. I'm being for real, for real. Did I not call you randomly the other day, Kelly, for your advice?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So what, I mean, there are lots of questions. You should always have questions for an agent if you have the call. First and foremost, I think, can I talk to some of your clients? I think that's a big one. You are always going to want to talk to an agent's clients, just so that you can see what it's like from an author's point of view or illustrator's point of view to work with that agent. So that's a big one. And oh gosh, there are so many. I would want, if I'm flipping to like, if I were an author I would want to know what it is that attracted the agent to your story, their vision for publication for that story, where they see it placed, how much revision they think that it needs, maybe their vision for revision, make sure it matches your vision for your story or your piece. Come on, guys, help me.
Well,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Jackie. Nope.
Okay. I mean, I'm often stumped when I get the question, what happens if this project doesn't sell? Because it's a very fair question. And, in the back of my mind, I'm always assuming, well, once you're out with one, your first project, you're working on the second one. And then, but of course you have to, as the agent, communicate that to the author. So that for some reason, I just make all these assumptions. And yes, of course you should say, well, how many rounds of submissions and what if it doesn't sell, and maybe talk about other things if you haven't already in the exchange setting up the phone call, what other projects might you be working on after this project? So, that kind of long-term view, which I weirdly take for granted, but actually you should talk about it.
Communication styles.
That one is the one that I always like to get in on. Yes. So what is your communication style? I always am the one who's like, do you have any questions? And thank you, Lane. Do you have any questions? And they're like, no, I don't know what I should be asking. I'm like, here, I'll do it for you. And what's your communication style? And so I think that's one is really important, because you do have to feel like you can communicate with your agent. And if there's ever a time where you're like, oh, I'm nervous, scared to reach out to that's always a bad sign. So you want to feel good about being able to talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to flip it. I want to know your least favorite question to get, and a question that someone asked that you really liked. Like, my least favorite question to get, and this is going to sound really ridiculous because it's a very important question, is what did you like about my project? Because I always get so nervous or worried that what I liked about the project, they're going to be like, that's not my project. That was like totally not in my project. You misunderstood my project. I'd be like so heartbroken. I'd be like, man, I suck. But it's a really good question to ask, because I guess you can weed out people like me who maybe misunderstood your book. Anyone else want to save me here?
I think my least favorite one, and I think it's often because I'm not sure what the author is asking, or I'm not sure that the author knows what they're asking, when they say, who would you submit this to? And, my thought is, I mean, like, if there's an obvious editor, or if that person has worked with an editor, there's some obvious answers to that. But if you're going on a broad submission with a new project that is going to require some submissions before you go out on revisions before you go out on submission, so it could be 3 months, 6 months before it even goes out on submission, I find that one hard to answer other than in sort of general terms. You know, I do a round of like 12 to 15, mixing the big houses, imprints of the big houses with some of the smaller houses, you know, which is just my standard thing. But sometimes I think the author wants to know, well, which person would you submit it to? And then are they just trying to put a list together that they can like take to another agent? Or are they trying to gauge how many editors you know? Or that one sort of confuses me because I'm never quite sure what they're asking.
I think it's a misunderstanding of the industry. Like that we have a list of editors who are actively looking for this at this exact moment. And even if that list is updated, they could be out on leave tomorrow. I've literally had conversations with editors where they email me, say, hey, I need this right now. I respond, here you go. Then again, out of office, I'm gone for 6 months. And like, what just happened?
And I think that's what I mean, that if you're going out, you know, say, I never put the editor list together, the sort of finalish one, until I'm about to go out on submission, because there's so much movement with the editors. So that's why it confuses me, because, you know, if I think it's a great fit for this imprint and there may be a particular editor there who's terrific and that person's, you know, on maternity leave or sabbatical or has quit the business, I'm still going to probably send it to the imprint to a different editor. So how specific is the author wanting? And there's actually some questions in the chat as well.
Yeah,
I like
that's
the question.
That's a good.
Marginalized authors should ask how you'll support them when they get ... those rejections ... I think your agent, or at least I know from us, is probably more, I don't want to say more, but is annoyed and angry at those rejections too, because one of my, it irks the F out of me is I didn't connect with the voice. But like, yeah, because you're a white person and this is not that book. It is not told from the point of view of a nice white person with Becky's hair. You know? So it really gets, yeah, we get it, because, you know, we're on the front lines trying to fight the good fight. At least I think we are over here.
And I think also to Jules's question and to Anne's point earlier about communication styles, you know, agents differ. I think Sarah, for example, and I tend to be fairly not all that touchy-feely and kind of business-like, and saying what Lane said, like, we get it, we understand it, let's form a plan, let's move on to the next thing. You know, some agents are more likely to say, oh, now I said I don't do that and I actually do it, but some agents are more likely to sort of have a more detailed conversation, say, isn't it terrible? And, you know, the state of the world is awful and we just have to get, you know, and actually I do that too. So I just said I didn't, and I do. But I think agents have a sense of, please, Lane. Agents have a sense of, you know, make it clear to the agent, like, do you want someone who, I don't want to say wallow, but who'll sort of get into the feelings with you or not? Because I think we know if we do that or not.
Yeah, I think on some level we're, and I don't want to put this out there so people come crawling and saying you're my therapist now, but on some level I think we do have that kind of cheerleader, rah, like crying shoulder, because I mean, we're in it together, and yeah, it sucks out there. And I just realized we sound like we're, you know, painting a dystopian of publishing.
Candace just said, if my agent isn't crying with me, are they my agent?
Oh, is Candace one of your clients?
Not one of mine, but now I want to cry.
Right? If an author has had representation before, are there any additional questions that author should ask? Ooh, Anne, this is one of your clients. You take the lead.
I do think that there are questions. So if there's anything that didn't work specifically in your past relationship, make sure you bring up those points in this call, right? So if there was, you know, they give you an overview in like the form of an edit letter, and you really respond better with like inline comments, for example. Like, you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page in all aspects, right? If I email you, how long is it going to take for you to respond to me? Do you give your clients your phone number? Do you respond to text messages? Do you like cat gifs? These are important questions to be able to buy. Did you catch that one? Thank you. I love cat gifts, and I get them often. So from my beautiful, wonderful clients, and Jake is one of them. So yeah, just make sure that, you think about, really, if you've been in the relationship before, what was it working in that relationship before, and make sure that you're not going to repeat the pattern.
And jumping in to say, Jake, if you come on this year's event, I will be there, so I will need an Amanda Dean cake. That is a requirement of the event.
You, Lane, do not get to make demands for our event.
I'm just putting it out there. Executive decision. There will need to be an Amanda Dean cake that I picture, that Jake made before, that I thought was like the most amazing thing ever. And you're like, yeah, that's not the real cake. Jake is just fantastic. And I was like, well, I want to try that cake.
Jake makes amazing cakes, but
I believe you. It looks amazing.
Executive board, so you do not get to make executive decisions for this event.
We'll see. Sarah does it too. I think, your agent needs to be sensitive to your needs if that's what you want. I mean, I have clients who we cheer each other on and cry. Some clients are just like, yeah, man, I just want my royalty check. Like, okay, it's a partnership. We're working together, not for or with. Now that,
well,
scratch that last
you're working
part.
For.
Yes, scratch that last part. Unfortunately, this is live, so I can't. But whatever. If my agent isn't crying with me, are they my agent? Lane, oh, you misspelled my name, Jake. Jeez. Just for you, I will see what I can do. Yay! That makes me super happy. I love it. I'm super excited now. Okay. How many authors does an agent usually represent? Ooh, I don't like this question. Is it normal for authors agented by the same person to communicate with each other? Ooh. My go-to answer for how many authors I represent is 30 to 40. It may be around 50, but I'm really bad at numbers and keeping track of, like, I feel put on, like it's a test, like I'm back in high school, which is why I don't like the what do you like about my book? Because I'm like, oh man, I'm really bad at tests. Awful. So, but I think it's completely normal for an agent's clients to communicate. And I think I've never not seen people celebrating agency siblings and all that jazz. Most of my clients know each other before I sign them or after. Some are like best friends before I sign them, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you even knew that person.
Yeah, I think that the usually represents is kind of tough here, because it just depends on, and it will vary by the agent, like what they can personally take on. If they have another full-time, part-time job, who knows? So I think usually is just whatever is for, works for that agent. And that's my girl, Mel. Hey, Mel. Mwah! So everyone say hi to Mel.
Hi, Mel.
For me, I know all of my clients talk to each other and know each other. We have a private Discord channel that we all are on, that everyone has access to. And as Lane was talking about earlier, we have an event that we go on every year, and we get together and smooches to you, and we hang out. So that's what my clients do.
Oh wait, was this the one that I have to actually like do something, like provide a service at the event?
It is literally literally a writing retreat. So it's like our own little conference. We have workshops, we do writing, we do critique groups.
Gotcha.
It's the real deal. So
I just remembered I have to do a presentation.
Yep.
Anyway, what can authors push back against in contracts? How much can you negotiate payment? I assuming that means like contracts with publishers.
I assume. Can I just say something? Because I do my publishing law webinars every 5 minutes, and people here have probably seen them. But I think people, when you say contract, an agency contract is pretty simple and pretty standard and pretty much mirrors the general common law of agency. There's really not anything to negotiate in an agency contract. The key with an agency contract is understanding what it says, but most of them say we'll take X percent, it's usually 15% of a domestic sale, 20% if there's a co-agent. How do you terminate the contract? It's very standard and it's just common law. It's the publishing contract where actual rights are being licensed and money is being assigned to rights and sub-rights. That's the one that you negotiate, or your agent negotiates for you. If you're operating with an agent, because the agent is because you're the principal and the agent is the agent is working for you, but you're relying on the agent's expertise. So legally, ideally, that process happens between the two of you because you're the one signing the publishing contract. The agent is not a party to the publishing contract. So I talk about this all the time, and people, because the first contract they see is the agency one, they freak out about it. It's like, no, that's actually pretty standard. The key there is just to know what it says and, make sure you know how to part ways and what happens if you part ways and what happens to the project that the agent sold. But you're not giving anyone licensing of your rights under that contract. So I just want to make that just took me law professor amounts of time to say.
Well, no, it's good because some people don't understand. I mean, I think a lot of the average person, they see legalese and their eyes go wide and like, am I signing my soul away? And I think in some sense, contracts, legalese by nature, is designed to make you feel that way. So how much can you negotiate payment? I mean, I think it's your agent's. Well, I know it's your agent's job to negotiate the contract with the publisher. I think the important thing is to have an agent who can negotiate while keeping things fun, light, business casual, because you don't want someone who's going to claw the other person's eyes out in a way that leaves them not wanting to work with them again, if that makes sense.
And I think too, it's important for the agent, and not all agents do this, I know, but it's important for the agent to help you understand the publishing contract that you are signing. There is a lot of legalese in it. There's a lot of boilerplate. You don't need to understand every word, but you do need to understand what rights you're licensing, for how long, what you're getting paid for them, and I think, that really is something an agent should be explaining, I hope.
Yes, I agree.
I think we all do, but
yes,
I can't speak for every agent.
Okay, here's a good one. What are 3 big red flags that I'm getting screwed over in a contract? Only 3?
Oh my goodness. Well, again, what sort of contract though? I mean, it has to be a publishing contract.
Yeah, I assume a publishing contract. I mean, unless the agency is like, we're taking 50% of your, you know what I mean? It's hard to get. We don't have a predatory contract. I've seen very few predatory agenting contracts from serious agencies. So let's assume publishing.
Okay. I mean, one thing I say, because I consult I do contract consulting occasionally. The thing so I don't love the term screwed over, because the thing about a contract, and unless it is fraudulent, so I'm putting fraud to one side. So I'm thinking really not useful bargain, because the thing about a contract is it's a risk management tool. It's something that two parties or more enter into to govern ongoing relationships. Wow, this is the law professor. So you can sort of take account of what might happen down the line. Right. So the sorts of red flags, I'd rather red flags than screwed over, are things like, what's the bargain? What are you giving? For how long? And what are you getting? And if you're giving all of your rights and you're not really getting anything for them, you're not getting an advance, or you're getting a tiny advance, and all of your revenue depends on a share of the profits, but there's no discussion of whether the books are going to be in stores or are going to be marketed, or there's no track record for this publisher, then it's this risk calculus. I'm giving this huge thing and I'm really getting back very little. So for me, it's not, here's 3 things that tell you that you're being screwed over. I mean, like if they're saying you have to give us your copyright rather than license it, well, that's a red flag. So it's, contracts are, unless someone is actually breaking the law and doing something fraudulent and saying they're going to publish your book when they're not, it's risk. It's risk management. And I think people get so excited about having a publishing contract in front of them, and then they don't make any money, and they realize after the fact that they've given away rights they didn't mean to give away. And then they're like, I got screwed over. And it's like, no, the trick is to understand the bargain at the beginning before you sign anything, because it really is. It's about managing risk.
Well said.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Very well said. So Jake actually has a good question that I'm not going to answer because it's a political book. But what book are you currently reading? Not manuscripts, not for comps, not to keep up with the industry, just the book you are reading. And you're shaking your head. Let's hear it.
I'm reading 2 right now.
Ooh.
So my 2 books that I'm reading for fun right now, one of them I had to look up the title because I always forget the title of it. I just remember the cover. So it's called Those Who Wait by Haley Cass. So that is a sapphic romance, and so I'm reading that just for funsies. And then I'm reading In Defense of Witches, which is a nonfiction book that I am enjoying.
Jackie?
I'll
Kelly.
Then I have to go talk to these guys real quick. I'm reading Horse by Geraldine Brooks for my book club, my adult book club, and I can't believe I haven't read it yet, but I'm very glad that I'm reading it now because I'm loving it. And I'm going to be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, I just finished Will Prescribe You a Cat for my book club, which is translated from the Japanese and is a very quick read and is just delightful. And there is a sequel coming out. And I also just picked up Cinda Williams-Chimer's Children of Ragnarok, which is not, I'm not reading it because it's a comp. I'm a friend of Cinda's. She actually now lives near Kelly. And I just have had the book on my shelf for a long time. And I figured, well, I'll see her again one day. And I want to have read the book.
Good answers. How long is too long to work on one book? When do you ask authors to move on to a new project?
Anne, you go.
I mean, I feel like this is a tricky one, just because it kind of varies, right? So it depends. Are you consistently working like together on something for months and months and months and months and months? Or is it like you got feedback and then the author went off to do the feedback and it took 6 months to do feedback? Like, so it's going to vary between projects. I think what happens is when you both kind of lose sight of the overall story, like both of you get too close and you can't find the forest through the trees, that sometimes it's a good idea to step away and then come back to it at a later date. But I think that the timing of that is really hard to put a number on.
Yeah, that's really well said. I was literally just this week with a client talking about this with a book that she's been working on and off for some years now. And she said to me recently, I've lost it. I need to put it aside. I just, exactly what Anne was talking about. I just don't have the thing that made it spark. And she may come back to it or she may not, but I think Anne's answer is excellent.
Thank you. Kelly came back with a cat.
Did she? Oh, she did. Kitty.
What was the question? What did I miss? Oh,
Lane, you've muted yourself somehow.
The question was, how long do you work on something before you decide to shelve it, more or less?
Yes.
So.
More or less, that was the question. Do you have an answer, Kelly?
Oh, do you want me to? So are you talking about a manuscript, or how long do we shop something before we decide?
One book.
Yeah.
One book.
Yep.
I think that it depends on the author and just talking with the project and their enthusiasm for it. And yeah, that's a project by project decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Is nonfiction doing well? Where do you hunt for marketable nonfiction topics? Jackie and I talk about this probably every day, at least once or twice.
And often in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Yes. I just got this idea.
Absolutely in the middle of the night. I think I got a message from you at like midnight last night.
Yeah. Well, no, last week. That one I sent. Last night was earlier than midnight.
I don't remember anything about
late,
anything.
Though.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think nonfiction is doing well. I think it used to do better than fiction for a while, but I think fiction is doing better now. But nonfiction is always selling well. I mean, everyone wants nonfiction. People are living wonky lives, memoir, always true crime, especially in the politics of our day. There's always political books. I'm always surprised by the new history of Napoleon, because how many times are we going to have a biography of Napoleon? But there's a lot. There's a new translation of the Odyssey and the Iliad. Always got to retranslate those. So that's what I think. But I'm curious about Jackie, who does a lot of nonfiction and is a nonfiction type as a law professor.
Yeah, and I would put the usual caveat on it that when asking what topics are marketable, you've also got to be the author with the authority on that topic. So it can't just be, wow, I'm really interested in this. I think I'll write a nonfiction book about it. Like, you have to be, a recognized expert or positioned to put yourself in that place, or, there's the, be famous. Like, if you happen to be famous, you can pretty much write about anything. Like, okay, you're blurred though. You blurred the cover.
Oh, I blurred it. How do I unblur it? Hold on.
I don't know.
Put it in front of your face really quick, and it might come up for a second. But
there we go. I fixed it.
There you go.
Dr. Robin George Andrews, How to Kill an Asteroid. He is a volcanologist who writes for the New York Times, Atlantic, Scientific Obscura, Space, all the good stuff. And he went on a gallivanting adventure for a year to write this book about NASA having lasers to destroy asteroids that are coming at us. And apparently there's an asteroid in maybe it's 2032.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, that has like a 2% chance or something of killing us all, which is very low, but in the consideration of the percentage of, being blown apart is very high, I think. I don't know. But back to the actual question.
I was also going to say, while I'm on the, expert platform authority thing, I also do a lot of nonfiction in kidlit as well as adult, and that is different. So in kidlit, obviously you have to have done the research. So you don't have to be a world-renowned expert to write a kidlit nonfiction, picture book, middle grade, etc. But you do have to understand the curriculum. So in those proposals, I would be putting in like where the sort of marketing platform might go in a adult nonfiction. I'd have a lot of curricular tie-ins and stuff like that, and bibliography of further resources, just because that goes to the school and library market. So you have to really position it that way. Whereas with adult, you're really saying, I am someone who has authority to write this. Obviously, if it's memoir, the authority is your life, but memoirs are tough to sell. So I just I'm always thinking about positioning, and that's often what Lane and I are talking about. We're often saying, we'd really like a book on this sort of thing because this hasn't been done, but like who is out there, and so when I see something in my inbox that is interesting topic, hasn't been overdone, the person is a real authority on it, that's a great combination.
Yes. And it's interesting about picture books. I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Picture books aren't proposal. I'm thinking more middle grade YA. Picture books, it's less, because they're books that adults are reading to the kids. But it still has to be relevant for a child, right? So if you want to write like a picture book biography of someone that you found interesting, that nothing about their life speaks to a 5-year-old, so that's not a curricular tie-in. That's just saying, what is the relevance? Like, why would the school library have that book? Why would anyone read it to
Gotcha. So that's why Wendy Loja's Taylor Swift, The Golden Book, the biography, that's like, if we were to sell that, that's how that would have been done.
Yeah, because that's, interesting to...
Yeah, I mean, I don't assume Wendy Loja has her doctorate in Tay-Tay.
No.
I mean,
she might.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Tay-Tay? Okay. What's the road to finding an agent as an illustrator? Ooh, Kelly, this is all you, my friend.
Yeah, I get queried. Just like an author would. You can query me and tell me a bit about yourself, and then link to your portfolio. And that's all in my query manager. Now, I do have a client who I followed her for a long time on Instagram, and I just loved her work. And I was like, she's not saying that she's looking for representation, but I can't see that she is represented. So I just reached out to her over Instagram, and I just asked, I said, are you represented? Because if not, I'd love to talk to you about, working together. And anyway, so we had a nice long conversation. We're working together and sold 2 books, and have another one that I'm going out with soon. And I love it. So that was the whole Kidlit postcard and being out there. Kidlit postcard, and the first, there's another hashtag that illustrators have, that those really are beneficial. Editors search for them, art directors search those. So even if you're represented, you keep posting on those sites. And Instagram, when the world gets really depressing, like every day, I go on Instagram and I scroll through art and illustrations. To me, that's just my happy place. It's so much fun to scroll through there. So, that's a good way to get noticed as well. But you can just query as you would if you were a writer, through Query Manager in our case. And it tells how to link to a portfolio, that kind of thing.
But you're right too, because I got a client, Melanie, who is with us tonight, is someone who I saw her hashtag for something, and I reached out to her. So, and I'm obsessed with Mel's art, and I think she's fabulous. And we're out right now with a project, and we're already working on next things. And yay, Melanie! So yeah, so just post, yeah.
My guy Jake has a question. I think as authors, we sometimes forget that agents are regular people as well. Ooh, I don't know. So to ask a mundane, everyday question, what flavor of ice cream is your favorite? Yo, I used to be all about the Rocky Road as a kid, but now I think it's watermelon sherbet.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? I don't even know if
Okay.
that's ice cream, but
Okay, I see where you're going here.
yep.
Pralines and cream.
Ooh.
What are pralines? I know what they are, but not really.
They're sugary. It's kind of like toffee, but very fine and brittle. And
Okay.
my sister knows how to make it. I can't make it.
Okay. Kelly?
If it's made with Oreos, I love cookies and cream, but it has to be real Oreos. It can't be like the fake chocolate cookies. And then I also really love Kilwin's Mackinac Island fudge, but that's because I grew up where Kilwin's was started, and it's up by Mackinac Island. And then I also really love Ben and Jerry's half baked. So half cookie dough, half brownie. Oh, this stuff is so good. Anyway.
So Kelly likes some ice cream.
I actually don't like it that much, but I
Really?
do like it when it has to be warm out. So I don't eat it for like half a year. I can't eat ice cream if it's wintry or cold.
What?
Huh.
Oh my God. I love ice cream.
What's your favorite kind?
Okay. So I was built for this question. Okay. If we're talking Baskin Robbins, like mint chip, obviously mint chip is the best. They make the best mint chip ice cream. Their pralines and cream though is very delicious, Jackie.
It is.
I give you
I do like their mint chip too.
And they use real Oreos in theirs.
Yes. So that was one of my jobs as in high school. When I was in high schools, I worked at Baskin Robbins. So I've tasted all of them. They're amazing. Okay. But now if we're going to Ben and Jerry's, I am going to say that their best ones are Cherry Garcia and Fish Food. Love me some Fish Food. So delicious.
What's in Fish Food?
It's like chocolate, marshmallow, caramel with like little fudgy fishes inside of it. Like
nice.
Delicious. Love them. Now there's also one that at my local store, they do a cookies and cream, but also with cookie dough. It's really good.
The thing is, I just want to eat the cookie dough, not in the ice cream.
You can do that now. Did you know that?
No, I know, but that's the thing.
They let you have those ones that are now safe to eat from the grocery store.
Right. And I get those. I wouldn't get the ice cream with the cookie dough. I'd just get the packet of the cookie dough. Because you can just get it.
You can, but I don't think that's as fun, personally.
No, I need my cookie dough off to the side. I need it to be its own thing.
So I love ice cream. I will eat all ice cream. I do not discriminate. I love pistachio. Oh, love pistachio.
Oh, pistachio.
Coffee ice cream is one of my favorites.
Coffee.
Love me some coffee ice cream. Like I could just go on and on and on and on. Love them all.
Yeah. Okay. As a kidlit writer, where can we find curriculi to work on those tie-ins? Ooh, Jackie, that's you.
You can, I'm terrible. So many of my clients writing in this area are either teachers or librarians, and they know them and they tell them to me, but you can Google them and check. And the problem is sometimes, like I have worked on projects, like work for hire projects that are for a particular school system where they want a particular thing. But so what you have to do is sort of look for the tie-ins that are more general, that are more of general relevance. But when I do that, I typically just Google them. Kelly, do you know a site that, because it's state?
State, but then you've got county school systems. And so I just, Googling is, and they're pretty broad. They're not like in the proposals, they're not getting real specific. It's more like,
right. It's just like about at what grade are you learning about, the Second World War? At what grade are you learning about, environmentalism? Because then you can do some environmental, it's not like yeah, sorry if I made it sound really specific.
All right, this is a great question. How important is personal politics alignment between author and agent? This has been happening a lot, and I'm going to be the one to say it. Your politics are a you problem. My politics are a me problem. I don't care about your politics. I don't even think it should necessarily matter. It's a business relationship. If we didn't work with anyone who disagreed with us, we wouldn't be working with anyone.
I'm not sure about that, but
I am. I absolutely am. Even if you vote for the same person, believe in the same stuff, you're not going to agree about everything.
Not everything. No. But I think it comes down, for me at least, like, we can agree to disagree, like, on, should pineapple be on pizza? We cannot agree to disagree on if people should be granted fundamental rights. And that's just where I stand. And so...
Well, I don't think anyone's... I shouldn't say that, but I mean, I don't think anyone's trying to say no fundamental rights, but here we are in this, current environment. So,
and if I could add on to that, I think too, because I tend to look at it slightly differently, and maybe I don't, maybe I'm just looking at a different thing, but I don't think someone's politics or their religion or their race or whatever it may be should be relevant or interfere with the way I work with the person. What comes up for me is the content of the projects. So if there's a project that I'm just not the best fit for because it's, say, a political diatribe about something that I don't believe in, I couldn't edit it well or position it well anyway, because it's not something I feel like I'm qualified to, so if the person has different views to me, but they're writing something that I'm quite confident that I can work on, but often it'll be a case of the project comes in and it's like, I don't know how to position this in the market. I don't really know how to edit it. And it's not because I have some deeply held political view, but like, for example, I think I have on my QM thing at the moment, I'm not really feeling the ability to deal with stories about women being, abused, or, the life story comes from trauma inflicted on them by men. And it's not that I don't think that women do suffer those abuses and that men do perpetrate a lot of them. Politically, I'm right there with you, but I'm not in the headspace I can do that right now. So for me, I'm inartfully saying it's more about the project than the person and their views, but sometimes particular views are part of the writing, and that just may not be something I'm a good fit for.
Now I wonder, how do you even know about the politics aligning? Because when I go see the doctor, I don't ask her, who'd you vote for? I say, what's this lump on my face?
What's the thing? I don't think I often know.
I don't think I know either. I mean, I don't care.
Unless someone says to me, it's really important that you believe this. But why would it be if it's about the work? And I may be naive. I'm sorry. I may not be getting it.
I know people have said being more vocal on social media about stuff. But I mean, I think a lot of that's performative. As an agency, no one cares what we think politically. And if they do, we have no political power whatsoever. No one's going to listen to the Tobias Literary Agency. If we emailed the White House saying we demand this, we're just going to go in a file. And you want us out there selling your books for $10 million. The dog thinks he's outside trying to hide the bone. So he's like kicking dirt at it, except there's no dirt because we're inside. No, you do not chew on plugs, dum-dum. Okay. Did I end the conversation?
Well, I don't say anything political on social media anyway, because I think it's the absolute worst place to say stuff that's political. But if I have clients who do, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, I think your stuff is a you problem. my stuff is a me problem. There's no reason to. I don't tell people you need to be on social media making statements about anything. I assume they don't need us to. I mean, it's just we're in the business for selling books. I want to sell books. People want to read books. I mean, especially in the state of the world, I don't want anyone getting harassed or having their likeness stolen for some wild ass AI video. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I probably I don't talk politics with my clients. I think after working with them for a period of time, I pretty much know where they stand and vice versa, but it's not a subject of our conversations. And but I really think Jackie made a very valid point, about the difference between the work and the client. And if it's a work that it's more about me being able to represent it well, if it's something that I really don't understand or adhere to, as opposed to me believing that other people should have the right to think differently than me. Absolutely, they do. So I think if that's very important to the author or the client, that's a part of conversation that should come up, during the author call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. How would you feel if someone asked your politics? I mean, there's Anne would have a field day. She'd get up.
Yeah, I would be honest.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it's a conversation, but I also think that, it comes back to being able to do a job well for that particular person. If it's important to them, then they deserve the right to know, and we're to have an honest conversation about it. Sure. But nobody has.
That's the best answer, being honest, because obviously it's important to them. I like that. That's good. Okay, Jake does have a question. What is a hook? Do you have an example of a good one? Ooh, Anne, we were just talking about this the other day. Let's school me again, please. I want to hear all about the hooks you have.
All about my hooks. No, I mean,
yep, hook me, Anne Rose.
I think in our day and age of publishing, right? Like we talk a lot about hooks, and really, what boils down to a hook is how is this book is different. What would make me want to read it, right? So if there's 20 books on the shelf, what does this book have to say that's different than the other 20, right? Like pitch it to me in a way that would make me go, ooh, I want to read that. And I always go back to one of my favorite books that came out last year, which is Dexter Meets Legally Blonde. Boom. You know exactly what the book is. You know exactly what's going to happen there. And if you like Dexter or Legally Blonde, and if you like both of them, you're going to love that book. So, and if you don't already know, that book is This Girl's a Killer, and it is freaking-tastic. So.
Yes. I think exactly the same. I mean, I know what high concept is. A hook is much more harder for me to define, only because you know it when you see it. Like I couldn't put. I think what makes it exciting, I guess, like you said, what makes it different. I just repeated what you said, like I made it up. So let me stop talking.
You like to do that. It's okay.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently. Charles Holt said something. Politically, I just had to get more vocal recently on social media, which scares me because I try to keep politics out of writing. I do not want the backlash that Orson Scott Card gets. Yeah. I mean, see, I get it, because how do you devoid the author and the art? For example, I always hated Harry Potter. I never liked the book, and I never said anything because everyone loved it. Everyone was so amazed by it. But as soon as as I was about to call her JFK, J.K. Rowling become person non grata, everyone's like, yeah, I can't read it anymore. Boo, Harry Potter. And I'm like, yes, now I get to say it. No one's laughing, but okay.
Well, I mean, we had that it obviously comes up judicially, and, people have been looking at the Supreme Court and ethics, but there was one judge in California who was very well known in intellectual property circles. He was just a brilliant expert, and he wrote, some of the best judgments that are the most often cited on certain things. And he was embroiled in a sex scandal and resigned sort of in disgrace. And law professors had this discussion because his writings are the law, but he's such a disgraced person. So it's not just in art, it's like anything you get known for and then something else comes out, and it's just unfortunately it's sort of part of navigating your identity.
Yeah. On that, Jules says some of us have no choice because of our identities. Hey, I get it.
Yeah,
I'm Jewish. I get it. I think I know. Can I talk about your phone calls, Ann Rose?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're in reference to, so I'm not going to agree to it because I have no idea what you're about to come out of your mouth. So, no.
So I mean, that takes off, and I lost my train of thought, and
Sorry.
now crap. I had a good response, Jules. I totally apologize because I just totally blew it. But yes, I get it. So some of our identities were under threat, and being loud and vocal about it is it's the way of the world, I guess. I think I always tell people, follow your heart, do what's right for you. I've been vocal on social media about politics too. I think I personally have stepped back from doing that. And I think some people do, which is great. Some people don't, which is fine. I don't know. I mean, yes, I agree.
I'm just gonna throw it out there that I think that during this time it's important to be vocal. And I think that the more that we people who can be vocal, it helps people who are scared to be vocal become vocal. So the more people that see each other being vocal, it allows them to be vocal too. So
I know you're vocal, but you're not just vocal on social media. You're vocal in the real world, which is where think, I think that's what we're talking about. Maybe I think being vocal on social media, if you want to be on social media, is fine. But I have clients who just aren't on social media, even
you don't have to be. It's not like a
promote their
necessity of
own
life.
stuff.
But
yeah, I mean, they promote their work in the real world, but they're not on social media promoting their work, which sometimes I'm like, hey, man, you got to tweet that out or tag us in it. They're like, oh, sorry, I don't know, do social media. I'm like, it's okay. Okay. How do you feel about an author querying you and including a playlist to accompany the submission? Lots of people have lots of feels about this.
I only want it if its cake is included. I don't know. Like, send me a cake. I don't need a playlist. So I think it's actually, I'm going to go on a little tirade and jump on my soapbox here. And I think that agents that require you to give a playlist or they think it's fun and kitschy. And I think that's terrible because there's some authors out there that feel like, oh my God, I have to get this answer correct. Right. And so I feel like it's so unnecessary. So if you want to submit one with it, you go ahead, you follow your heart, and that is fine. And I will look at it, and I probably will not know any of those songs because I never know the title of any song, even if I can sing all the lyrics to it. But I do not think that they should be a required question in a query letter, and I just don't think authors should feel like they should have to do jump over hoops. But also, if you want a side cake, I'm totally okay for that.
Yeah, I'm a curmudgeon. I'm not going to listen to your playlist. I'm just, I got my own damn problems, and I don't listen to music that much anymore, which makes me feel super old. But yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't even know where I would play the playlist. Like I haven't had an iPod forever.
Well, I want to put words in Kelly's mouth. I want to jump in here for a second because I'm terrible with music. I'm not going to listen to the playlist. But Kelly says this very wise thing about tell us what the book is about. I always stumble. We all tell us what the book is about. Don't tell us
about the book.
About the book. And to me, the playlist is telling you about the book. It's telling you, this is what I liked listening to when I wrote the book. And here's a picture of my cat that sat on my desk while I was writing the book. And I was inspired by the view outside my window. And I don't want to know that. I just want to know what your book is about. So, I don't object to if people, I'm like with Anne, okay, fine, if you need to. It's really I just think it's sort of kitschy and not helpful to me personally.
Can you say it correctly, Kelly? Because I want to try to say it, but I know I'm going to bumble it because I don't even know what it is in my head. I just know you say it perfectly.
Well, now you probably just jinxed me.
Sorry.
So in your query letter, the most common mistake I see is when people tell us about the book, but don't say anything. Don't tell us what the book is actually about. So they say, it's a beautiful historical novel with themes of this and voicey, blah, blah, blah. But then
I was listening to this music in the background.
Inspired by such and such song that I probably never heard of. Yeah, exactly. Instead of saying, it's a book about Janice, I don't know, and what she has to face. We want we'll end with this because I think that this is good. Anne always has it right. We want to know, okay, Anne, take it. What the book is, who the character is,
who's the main character, what they want, what are their goals,
right?
What stands in their way, what are the obstacles, and what happens if they fail?
Yeah,
what are the stakes?
These 4 things. What the book is, who the character is, what they want, what stands in their way, and what happens if they don't get it. That's what we want to know. That's what the book is about.
So that's been the TLA Literary Lens AMA for February live. So we will have another one for March, last Wednesday of the month, 7 p.m. We'll put out a link. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you didn't get too mad at us. If so, feel free to be vocal about it. Hey. We will see you on the flip side. Bye.